So one of the things I would love to explore a little bit more and go deeper on with you is um, it's a really simple philosophy, but I love it. And I remember you telling me or talking about it when we were in LA, and I really adopted it as a life principle. And that was
Mhm.
always to follow your highest excitement.
Yeah, and you hear that a lot now, in metaphysical circles, follow your bliss, act on your passion. The thing that I appreciate about Bashar and the way he talks about this is he renders what most people just sort of understand as a sort of a vague aphorism. He renders it into an actual pragmatic, physical, and practical set of tools to explain why that works.
Mm,
It literally is rendered into what he calls an instruction manual for how reality functions. And so he explains very clearly why it's important to act on your passion because it has to do literally with who we are. In other words, it's a physical representation, it's a physical sensation that represents our inner frequency, our true essential frequency of being. And therefore, when we act on our passion according to the way in which Bashar describes the instruction manual, he's saying you're really in alignment with yourself, and it's almost like having a compass needle pointing right to your own true magnetic north. It's the way to follow a path that is most aligned with who you are and is most representative of your purpose in being here. So, in other words, we're given this clue
mm,
that sensation of excitement, that sensation of passion, of creativity and love are really mostly who we are, what we're really all about. And we're given this clue to make it easier for us to follow the path that we chose to follow in coming here. But of course, different belief systems, fear based belief systems, negative belief systems that exist on earth will often deter us from following that path. And that's why, in explaining it in very physical terms as to why it works
mm.
and creating this instruction manual, it becomes as simple, as you said, as following an instruction manual for anything. Like if you were going to learn how to drive a car, you were going to learn how to operate a piece of machinery. If you just follow the instructions, the machine will work in exactly the way it's designed to work. And so, in rendering the principles that he talks about down into this instruction manual, it really is as simple as going, what's step one, what's step two, what's step three, and getting the basic result of following those instructions in a very simple way. Right.
Mm. Yeah, and I think we're kind of educated out of it, aren't we? Really, and we
Yes.
we think almost too much, like because in my own experience of following my bliss, or I really, when I came away from Southern California, I really practiced it, and it was interesting to follow because it wasn't logical, and obviously our intuition and our soul almost speaking to us isn't necessarily logical, and I think we've been educated into our heads.
Yeah, although again, when when you understand how he explains all the principles in the instruction manual, it actually does become logical. It seems illogical at first, but when you realize that he's actually describing the structure of existence and the nature of how reality works, it becomes as logical as anything you would do in physical reality. That's why it can work so powerfully for us, is it's not only a representation of something that functions from a higher level, it's being presented in a way that our physical, logical minds can also wrap themselves around. So it does contain elements of something beyond the physical, but it is grounded in a way that makes sense to us as physical beings, which is why it works and why when people do apply the instructions in the way that he's unfolded them, they often come back to me. And this is one of the things that's so gratifying about doing the channeling is people will come back and say, when I finally understood very precisely what he was saying and how the instructions work and how the principles function, say every time I now apply these things, I do get an effect. My life has changed for the better. Um, it's just so much more joyful. It's so much easier. I understand how things are working. I understand more about who I am, what my beliefs are, how to sort of clean my attic of negative beliefs that really don't don't serve me and only use the positive ones that move me through life. So when I keep getting that kind of feedback from people, I know that the principles do work very
Mm.
simply once people truly understand what they're